All right. Welcome back. Rumble, y'all already know what time it is. YouTube, y'all too. Hell, welcome back, Team DWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. Y'all already know what time it is. It is 6 p.m. Wednesday, our normal time to be live. For those who know the when to come look for me. Yeah, no, I say it at the beginning of every live video, so that way the late people get the late people treatment. Oh man, I didn't know you was live. Really? You ever watched the video then? Huh? If you watch one from the start, you get to learn the schedule. The schedule is upkept because that's what we gonna be doing. Anyway, speaking about what we gonna be doing, let me get this ticker across the banner because gotta rep that buy me a coffee. We gotta rep that buy me a coffee. Yeah, put that at the bottom. Flip my camera around. Change it. Full screen. That looks about right. And put my chat down here. We'll let people come in late because that's what they do. Shout out to the big homie for the intro beat.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5, presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales. And earlier this week, boxing legend and cannabis entrepreneur Mike Tyson stepped into the Pennsylvania state capitol in Harrisburg, not to throw punches, but to push for adult use cannabis legalization. And while the energy indeed was high, the message from lawmakers was nuanced. They're open to it, but they're watching as to what happens next in Washington. So in today's episode, we'll break down what Tyson said, what lawmakers are signaling, and why federal rescheduling could be the key to unlocking Pennsylvania's cannabis future. Because we all know, as we've said many times, this is going to be one of the biggest adult use markets in the U.S. So let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5, presented by Dutchie. All right, let's begin with what happened this week. Tyson met with several state leaders, including Senate President Pro Tempore Kim Ward, and reportedly planned to speak with Governor Josh Shapiro. His message was clear. Legal cannabis is good for business, good for public health, and good for Pennsylvania. So he pointed to his brand Tyson 2.0 and said the state is missing out on jobs and tax revenue that neighboring states are already collecting. In his own words, everybody else around you did that. Must say something about you not knowing what's going on in the community, end quote. So Tyson claimed legalization could create up to 500,000 jobs. That number may be optimistic, but the economic potential, let's face it, is very real. So let's now talk about dollars. If Pennsylvania were to legalize adult use cannabis, it could generate $400 to $500 million in annual tax revenue, based on models from states like Michigan and Illinois. So big money here. And with that, that's money that could go towards education, infrastructure, public health, and law enforcement. And with the state finalizing its budget, cannabis revenue is becoming harder and harder to ignore here. They need the money. Senate Bill 120, co-sponsored by Republican Dan Laughlin and Democrat Sharif Streep, is also gaining some traction here. This is a bipartisan issue, and Tyson's visit helped spotlight that. So it's good to see encouraging signs and support from both sides of the aisle here. So really, why hasn't it happened yet then? Well, here's where things get interesting. Multiple lawmakers told Tyson and his team that while they support adult use cannabis in principle, they're still hesitant to move forward without some direction from the federal government. Whether that's fully true or not, it's worth talking about. So they didn't say outright that legalization depends on federal action, but they did hint that rescheduling cannabis on broader federal reform could help speed up the process in this. So when you read between the lines here, in other words, Pennsylvania, they may be ready, but they're looking for a green light from Washington. Another example, Washington, that we need some direction. I'll just keep saying this week after week. In addition to that, several lawmakers also expressed interest in hearing from the Trump administration on cannabis reform. With President Trump in office, state leaders are definitely watching closely for signals on rescheduling, enforcement priorities, and let's face it, federal banking. Then we have Susie Wiles. She's Trump's chief of staff, and she's been described as a quiet advocate for cannabis modernization legalization. So if she continues to push reform behind the scenes, it could give states like Pennsylvania the confidence to act. And we need more markets online. So while we can't say definitively that adult use cannabis in Pennsylvania hinges on federal action, it's clear that federal clarity would help accelerate the process. So I don't want to muddy the waters here. It's not for sure they need federal action, but let's face it, if there is some direction, this would speed up in a hurry. And speaking of speeding up, before we continue, a quick thank you to our friends over at Dutchie, the tech platform powering smarter cannabis retail. If you own a dispensary or work in dispensary operations, compliance, or e-commerce, Dutchie helps simplify it all. From online ordering to point-of-sale systems to payments and analytics, they connect every part of your cannabis business all in one secure platform. If you want to learn more about this, make sure to visit business.dutchie.com. All right, let's now look at the risk of delays. While lawmakers are waiting, the unregulated market is slowing down. Earlier this month, it was reported last week that a Pennsylvania grand jury released a 107-page report showing that over 93% of hemp products sold at smoke shops and gas stations were actually illegal, unregulated, mislabeled, and often dangerously potent. 93% people. So you can understand why Mike Tyson is pushing for regulation in all this. And he's the guy to champion it around. Because when you look at this amount of illicit product on the streets right now, that's not a loophole, it's a public risk. The products aren't tested, as we know, they're not labeled, they're not being sold without age verification or really any oversight at all. So meanwhile, the regulated cannabis industry, as we know, it continues to be held in much higher standards. You've got testing, labeling, compliance, no interstate commerce, heavy taxes. So that balance is definitely hurting consumers and licensed operators alike. So again, you can understand why Mike Tyson and his group are in the state Senate to talk about really what's at stake here. So here's really where I land on this. Pennsylvania, it's close. Public supports adult use cannabis. Lawmakers are engaged. The budget window is open, but the missing part in all this right now is federal direction. So we can't say for sure that legalization won't happen without it, but based on what lawmakers told Tyson's team, it's clear that federal clarity would help move things forward. That's the reality. And while we wait, the unregulated market, as we know, it continues to grow. Consumers are exposed to mislabeled, untested, and often illegal products. So that's not just a policy issue. As we've said before, it's a public safety issue. Yes, the hemp industry isn't the villain, but the bottom line is this: we need to get rid of bad actors on both sides. So let's see what happens next in PA, because let's face it, the state needs tax revenue right now. As much as $400 to $500 million would be generated if adult use passes. And if they're sort of in some ways waiting for some direction on federal reform, it may be a decision that they're going to have to make on their own sooner rather than later. That's it for our latest TDR Cannabis in 5. Let us know your thoughts and what you think is going to happen in PA by leaving your comments below. And as usual, if you like this breakdown, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, smash on that bell for all notifications. Stay connected with us here at the TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. All right, everyone, enjoy your day. Thanks again for checking in. I'll keep you all posted. And if there's anything I hear, you'll be the first to know by staying connected. Take care, everyone, and thanks again for watching.
So you'll be the first to know by staying connected. Boy, hey, he got his down pack, right? Let you know to tune in for the show. Very rip.
My little nephew came in the house the other day. Me and my brother, we were playing pool. He came in. He said, "Hey, Daddy, what's the difference between a hypothetical question and a realistic question?" Well, you know, my brother, he kind of stupid too, you know. Hypothetical. He said they basically mean the same, but sometimes they be different, you know. He said, for example, go upstairs and ask your mother, will she make love to the mailman for $250,000? My nephew ran upstairs, came back 10 minutes later. He said, "Daddy, Mama said she'll fuck the mailman, the milkman, and any other man for $250,000. He said, "Well, I see." He said, "Well, son, go downstairs and ask your sister, will she make love to the next door neighbor for $250,000? He ran downstairs, came back 15 minutes later, and said, "Father, sister said she'll fuck the next door neighbor, the neighborhood, and the next block for $250,000. My brother looked at me, I looked at him. I said, "Tell him, man, tell him." He said, "Let me tell you something. Son, hypothetically speaking, we should have $500,000. He said, but realistically speaking, son, we living with two hoes.
Gotta appreciate some of that Bernie Mac stand up.
Mr. Nice Guy was blowing up, man. We got customers from all over New York. We even stole a few from Samson.
Oh, what's up, nigga? Come on in, man. Come on in, man. Thanks, baby. You know, he done know he's scared. Yeah. What can I get you today, Smoke a Lot? Lovely. Let me get a pound of your Swedish Chiba.
Damn. Yeah, something told me to bring a lot of weed, man. Pound of my Swedish Chiba. Don't get no better than that.
Smack you the bag, baby.
That's gonna be $9,600, bro.
See what I got here. Come on, man. Hang out for a minute and smoke with me. I got weed, got my bong out. Come on, son.
For you, man.
So 10 stacks right there real quick.
But then I gotta be going.
I understand.
Man, Smoke a Lot opened up to me like I was Barbara Walters. It was ridiculous. He told me about his lawyer.
He had sex with my mama. Why?
Spirituality.
God, if you listen, hell.
His bad back.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
His love life.
I'm in for it, man. Get away from me, bitch.
I mean, talk about a guy with problems.
Tough break. I can't take it no more.
No wonder he smoked a pound a week. Somebody wanted. So now we had a famous clientele, and
Green Eye's gonna miss you.
and guess what else? Call me next week. About weed.
Sir Smoke a Lot. Boy. Speaking of which.
What is going on, everyone? Thanks for checking into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I am your host, Shad Dales, and I've got a good one here today. If you've been following this space closely, you already know we're in a holding pattern. Rescheduling hasn't happened, safe banking is stalled, and now a new player is gaining momentum, and it has for actually quite some time. It's the hemp industry. So for new viewers, here's the quick backdrop. Hemp-derived cannabinoids like Delta-8, Delta-10, and THCP are flooding the U.S. market. They're being sold in gas stations, smoke shops, and online, often outside the regulated cannabis system. And now, the hemp industry appears to be lobbying hard to protect that turf. Yeah. So today we're going to ask a strategic question, not whether the hemp lobby is influencing the current administration, but how it could be. These are hypotheticals, but they do matter, because in politics, perception, it often precedes policy. That is the reality. That's why they say politics is a dirty game. So let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. All right, let's start with what's been publicly reported. Senator Rand Paul, he has stated that if hemp is banned outright, he'll do everything in his power to keep the government shutdown in place. So that's not speculation, that's on record. So now, we don't know the full extent of the lobbying behind that position, but it does raise a serious question. Is hemp lobby gaining enough traction to shape federal priorities? Hemp operators are organizing, they're hiring former Hill staffers, they're forming PACs, and they're framing their product as legal, accessible alternatives to regulated cannabis. Not so fast. So the message, yes, it is simple, don't kill hemp to save cannabis, but the reality, as we know, is much, much more complicated. And here's what I mean by that. The hemp lobby wants to position itself as the safe alternative to cannabis. But let's be honest, that narrative doesn't hold up under scrutiny. For those that follow this space, I'm sure you're probably going, yeah, no kidding. Earlier this week, as an example, a Pennsylvania grand jury, they released a 107-page report showing that 93% of hemp products sold at smoke shops and gas stations were actually illegal marijuana. It was unregulated, mislabeled, and often dangerously potent. And there's more to this too, because I'm sure the Dank Informer would be more than happy to really fill you in on exactly what's happening.
For those who don't remember my last review on a gas station pre-roll, I wouldn't say that they are overly potent. Good smoke, yeah. Nice and flavorful sometimes. Highly potent, yeah. You must be a beginner. But hell, I mean, like I said, they do sell to kids at some gas stations, so pay attention to what goes on in gas stations around you.
across the country. Another example is in Missouri, where lawmakers are right now cracking down on hemp-derived THC drinks sold in bars and grocery stores.
What?
These products are completely unregulated. No potency caps, no age checks, and no testing. So this is what you're buying, people. Over in Ohio, the Poison Control Center, they reported a spike in Delta-8 poisonings among children, prompting Governor DeWine to issue an executive order banning intoxicating hemp products. Down south in North Carolina, the Attorney General had to warn parents about THC-infused candies being sold in packaging that mimics Halloween treats. Yeah, this is happening. And across the country, like I said, Delta-8 products are being manufactured in unregulated facilities with inconsistent potency and contamination risks. And this is according to a 2025 regulatory roundup. So no, this isn't a safe alternative. It's an unregulated synthetic workaround that's putting consumers, especially kids, at risk. And that is the reality. And more people need to know about this. So let's now shift to Washington and talk about Susie Wiles. She's not a household name, but she is in Trump's orbit because she's arguably the most powerful political strategist in the room. Wiles has been described as a quiet supporter of cannabis reform. She understands the states' rights argument. She also sees the economic upside, and she's reportedly.
Now, y'all already know how I feel about all these old ass politicians. I mean, respectively, you do need to be mid-30s to 40s to be having enough life experience to actually tell people some shit. But at the same damn time, you don't want too many people that's too damn old looking at people coming to work to be at work. Like, what, your ass just can't sit at home and enjoy the work you done already did? You always got to go achieve more. Nah, you get to your point and you're supposed to quit. Hell, she look like she too damn old to be fucking working. Yeah, sit your old ass down. Just like I told Joe Biden, sit your old ass down. Donald Trump, sit your old ass down too. Yeah, everybody can sit the hell down. Yeah, get some young, fresh people up in here. Yeah, people that actually like, well, nah, we actually can solve our problems. That way we can figure out what our next set of problems will be. And nah, we're going to stay on the same problems for the whole existence of America. And then the empire collapses, right? Yeah, we're gonna have a Death Star gonna pull up one day and ain't none of this shit gonna be here.
Been one of the
The
few
weed
voices
still ain't
in
gonna be
Trump's
legal.
inner circle pushing for more modern stance on cannabis. Okay, but here's the hypothetical. Could the hemp lobby be influencing her now? Could the framing of hemp as a safer, simpler alternative to cannabis shift the internal calculus? Those are questions that need to be asked. We don't know right now, but if hemp is seen as politically safer, less controversial, and more commercially viable, it could complicate the path to full cannabis reform. So what does this translate into? Well, meanwhile, the cannabis industry is still waiting. The DEA has yet to act on the HHS recommendation to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. So as we know, that move, yes, would be historic. It would eliminate 280E tax penalties, and it would begin to slowly but surely open the door towards institutional capital. And it would also legitimize the industry in the eyes of many mainstream investors. But every week that it passes without action, it creates more uncertainty. And right now in that vacuum, the hemp lobby, they could be gaining ground as there's more delays. Again, this is hypothetical, but it's worth asking. Is the delay actually giving hemp operators more room to shape the narrative? That is a question that needs to be asked right now. So really, what happens next? Well, it all comes down to language. So when we look at the Farm Bill, or whatever version gets passed, it will likely include new definitions around hemp-derived cannabinoids. And that there, everyone, is where the battle lines are being drawn. If the bill tightens the definition of hemp to exclude synthetic cannabinoids, let's face it, the gray market, it collapses overnight. That's a good thing. But if the language stays vague, or worse, if it explicitly protects Delta-8 and similar compounds, it could entrench the hemp industry's position and weaken really the urgency for broader cannabis reform. So right now, this is where the cannabis industry needs to be laser focused. Because let's face it right now, the wrong language in the Farm Bill, it could delay federal cannabis reform for years, not months, years. So as I bring this all together, this is where I stand on all this. Yes, the hemp industry, it isn't the villain here. I don't want to say that. The bottom line is this. We need to get rid of the bad actors on both sides of the aisle. Whether it's unregulated hemp operators pushing synthetic THC through loopholes, or yes, there are some cannabis companies that are falling short on compliance. The chaos is coming from within. But let's be honest and let's be clear. The regulated cannabis industry is already jumping through far more hoops. Every product has to be tested, properly labeled, tracked and taxed. There's no interstate commerce as well, and there's no federal banking. And yet, they're held to a higher standard, while hemp products, many of which contain psychoactive THC, are being pushed through unregulated channels with little oversight. That is the reality, everyone. And if you don't know, well, now you know. So really, until both industries come together, fully embrace the need for accountability, then the confusion will indeed continue. Let's face it, when there's confusion, reform gets delayed, Washington stalls, investors hesitate, and let's face it, consumers, they lose trust. So really, this isn't just about lobbying, it's about leadership. And if the cannabis and hemp sectors want to move forward, they're going to need to clean up both sides of the aisle and come together. That's why we say it's all one plan. So that's it for today's latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. It's a hot topic, and it's the center of the conversation around both industries right now. So what do you think is going to happen? What should be in the language to keep this conversation going? So again, love to get your feedback because yes, like I said, it is the most hottest topic in the industry right now. As usual, if you like this breakdown, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications, and stay connected with us here at the TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. That's it for today, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. I'm your host, Shad Dales.
Another day in paradise for your boy.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right? Yeah. I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman?
Yup.
Have you ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to see it. Hey, man, it's just whack. $60, yo. Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill on weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Yeah, fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, it's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
Are you voting for the Great White Hope?
Who's that? Who Trump?
Yes, you know who the Great White Hope is.
I love Trump because he's done things that no one else could do.
Yeah,
He did.
absolutely.
And you know what it is?
What's that?
He got Joe Biden elected.
Yeah,
No one else could have done that.
that's right.
Joe Biden, they couldn't do it.
And so, are you voting for him?
He said,
Huh?
yeah, Joe
You
Biden.
going to vote for him?
For Trump?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No.
I thought you loved him because of what he's done.
It's a joke.
Right. So at 86, you don't recognize the strength of Donald Trump.
I recognize the devil.
The what?
The devil.
In Joe Biden or Trump?
No, Trump.
1 year ago, this banger went down on the Fallen State, Jesse Lee Peterson's YouTube channel, where he could not pick up on what Tommy Chung was saying. He would try this as well.
Do you think men should play in women's sports?
Men should play in women's sports.
Right.
Well, they do. Sometimes.
I know they do now.
Oh, they're
Transgender.
transgender.
Yeah, should they play in women's sports?
I don't see why not. But an asterisk.
And do you support abortion?
Oh, absolutely.
And why? Why do you?
It's a medical procedure. It's like saying, do you want your tooth out or not? You know, because that's what an abortion is, an extraction. You know. So do you want your teeth? Do I believe in abortion for a tooth, and I believe it for a fetus. You know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, would you ever agree with a woman if she wanted to abort your child? Would you say yes to that?
Absolutely.
Oh, you would?
I've said yes.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of times.
2 times?
Maybe more. I know. I don't know.
Now, if you're unfamiliar with this dude's game,
I have a major announcement right now. As of today, the 1st of July, today is the 2nd, I think, yeah? 2nd. But the 1st of July is White History Month. White History Month. So the whole month is White History Month from now on. Happy White History Month. As of July 1, 2018, we will be celebrating the entire month of July, White History Month. And the reason I picked July, put it there, Jake. The reason I picked July is because white Christian males and female conservative, straight men and women of God are very patriotic, and July just fit with white people.
remember when that same man, Jesse Lee Peterson, announced this. Understand also who his audience is.
If I'm at your show and you're making jokes about the Jews, right? And
myself, kind of, yeah.
Right, and you're making jokes about the Jews, and I'm cracking up. Should I be laughing or not?
It's interesting. I've had that question. It's like, did people in the Midwest watch Woody Allen movies? Because those movies got like wide distribution, right? But it's like, who the hell wants to see that crap? I get it. I'm like, that stuff makes so much sense to me. But it's like, it's so like, I can't imagine that it would appeal to other people.
Should I be laughing if you're making Jewish jokes?
Jewish, like what sense? Like Jewish people
at
or
one
what?
At one of your shows, and you're up making jokes, and they're really funny.
I'm mainly making fun of myself.
Let's say that all the Jews are laughing, they're cracking up. And I'm sitting there and I wonder, should I laugh or not?
It's a similar
should
question,
I laugh?
Right?
Should I laugh?
But I guess I don't do Jewish jokes.
I thought you said you did.
I do Jewish, like, self-deprecation, right? So making fun of yourself is like self-deprecation.
Because this is what he tries to do all the freaking time. Luckily...
What is a Jewish joke? Can you explain what that is?
I don't know. You're the comedian.
You keep saying Jewish jokes. I just don't understand what you mean.
But I thought you said that you made Jewish jokes.
I said that I do self-deprecation.
Okay, I got you now. I have you now.
Okay,
let me ask give me a quick answer because of time. No,
I don't want to stop talking to you. We got another hour, baby.
So let me ask: if you should make a Jewish joke, and I'm in the audience with a bunch of Jews, should I laugh?
Okay, help me out for a second. I'm not. Help me out for a second. Could you please tell me a Jewish joke so I can understand what you mean?
Jews love money.
Is that a joke? What are you talking about? That's a joke?
But should I laugh about that? If you made that joke, and I'm in the audience,
laugh about Jews love money?
What?
Tell me a Jewish joke. Listen, you're a free speech conservative. I'm not sensitive. I'm a comedian.
Right.
I believe in the First Amendment. So just tell me. You have to know one.
I just told you one. You didn't say it was funny.
Jews love money it didn't have the structure of a joke. It didn't have a setup. It didn't have a punchline.
Jews have a big nose.
Jesse, you're funny. I believe in you. Okay? I'm encouraging you because I think that what's more...
Listen to me. I got to move on. I need you to answer this question for me.
Comedian and podcaster Adam Freeland didn't take the bait either. On our network...
Sir, you all have a celebration coming up next month. Are you not the founder of White History Month, I think, which starts in July?
Yeah, we're going to be celebrating our 4th year of White History Month in July. And the reason that we started it in July is because if you notice, July just feels white.
Yeah.
You know, It's summertime, vacation time, relaxing time, reflecting time, and appreciating the greatest country on this side of heaven.
Gotcha.
And so we are recognizing that and showing our appreciation for it.
I think it's important for people to know you're not a comedian. What you're saying, right? What you're saying, this is actually you. You do this. You're the founder of White History Month.
Yes.
You've also been very critical of Juneteenth. You have called it a fake holiday, but you want to make sure that everyone supports what I do want to have a policy discussion with you about the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act. I'm going to attempt to have that policy discussion with you. Do you agree or disagree with the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act?
I totally disagree because, as we all know, George Floyd was a black, unemployed drug addict with a criminal record. And I just
let's first of all, let's clear something up, sir. You really should be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself a Christian pastor. George Floyd is dead.
It's his fault.
He's dead because a cop killed him.
No, now, he's dead because he was a drug addict.
My question to you, and that's adverse to the evidence, by the way, what you just said. My question to you was about policy. So let me ask you, what in the policy of the George Floyd Policing Act do you disagree with?
The whole idea.
Which part of the policy? Jesse,
blaming the cops and no responsibility
Jesse,
for the
blacks. I'm asking you, what part of the policy is written? You can find it at congress.gov. What part of the policy, sir, do you disagree with? This is a simple question.
I disagree with the whole idea of a
You haven't read the policy. You haven't even read the damn policy.
I don't need to read it. I don't need to read it.
You don't need to read it. What is it about Black Lives Matter that you disagree with fundamentally?
Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians.
Okay.
And who hate God.
Get this clown off my show. I appreciate you.
Who hate God, who hate the nuclear family.
Yeah. Listen, for those of you who wanted me to continue to engage that clown on this show, I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it. I'm only a human being. So please forgive me, okay?
Our very own Dr. Rashad Ritchie could only stomach so much of Peterson's shtick on his own show, Indisputable, which you all should go watch. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYD Sports and clicking the join button.
At this point, he
if that's too much for
life
you,
Uncle
you can
Ruckus.
just go to TYD.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you can follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.
Hope you don't mind. We made some tea. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the bloke you're stealing from. The name's Alistair Rigby. But as far as you're concerned, I'm Willy fucking Wonka. And you're taking a shit in my fucking chocolate factory. Easy, boss. Don't get upset. When I have to go to the dentist, I'm upset. When Liverpool beats Arsenal, I'm upset. But when some little shit decides to take over one of the most profitable territories in the country, I'm beyond fucking upset. I'm very fucking upset. So, from now on, you're under new management. You will work for me, and in return, you'll receive an allowance.
Allowance?
Yes, allowance. As in, I'm allowing you to keep 10%, and I'm allowing you to keep drawing breath on this earth. Now, you either get down, or you lay down. What's it gonna be, sunshine?
This wasn't no movie. The smart thing was to say yes, get up, and leave the room.
But I don't think Raleigh's smart, though.
But then I thought to myself, what if this was a movie? Look,
Yeah,
fuck
it's his
you,
movie though.
fuck the plane you flew in on, fuck them shoes, fuck those socks with the bell on it, fuck your gay-ass fairy faggot accent, fuck them cheap-ass cigars, fuck your yuck-mouth teeth, fuck your hairpiece, fuck your chocolate, fuck Guy Ritchie, fuck Prince William, fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out of my hotel room. And if I see you in the
Well,
street, I'm
TC,
slapping
good
the
to see you.
shit
How
out
you
of you.
doing?
I think this one spent so much time at the cinema. Teach this cheeky bastard a lesson.
Nobody fucking move!
Oh man, this is bad.
What is this? A casting call for the Sopranos reunion? Do me a favour. Tell room service nobody here ordered the extra large wok with a side order of wok.
Whoa!
Hey, that's how you supposed to come in though. Alright, I see there's already enough guns in here for me to use mine. Apparently y'all doing too much talking.
So, which states are the harshest with in today's modern society? Today we're counting down the top 5 strictest states, the places where even small amounts can mean jail, where concentrates are felonies, and where employers can still fire you for THC. I'll also drop 3 honorable mentions that are trying hard to keep prohibition alive, so let's get into it. Now, before we go through the rankings, here's how I scored this. I based my rankings on specific factors, such as criminal penalties for small amounts, and whether concentrates or edibles are treated separately, paraphernalia laws, fines and sentencing ranges. We also considered things like employment. Can you still be tested or fired for THC? Also, access. Is there medical, adult use, recreational, or no home grow at all? And finally, signals of negative public policy. And what's the official government posture like? Were there recent crackdowns and any proposed restrictions?
Y'all gotta go check out
number 5 on the list of the most strict states when it comes to the gun herb is Indiana. Indiana keeps it old school. No medical program, no adult use rec. Possession is still a crime. First time possession under 30 grams is a misdemeanor. Up to 180 days in jail and $1,000 fine. With a prior, it jumps up to a year and $5,000. Paraphernalia possession is criminal. Typically a Class C misdemeanor. Up to 60 days and $500, and can scale upward with priors. That's strict compared to neighbors moving forward, especially considering just over state lines is Illinois, and they're completely legalized. Now, attempts in Indiana to legalize or even decriminalize have stalled.
That sound like just another reason to motherfucking move. Shouts out to the top worst states to get caught with weed in. Yeah, I guess what this one from Matt's going through right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, shout out to Matt. Yeah, that dude in the corner. Yeah, I can't THC.
Repeatedly. As of 2025, advocates note multiple failed bills died in committee, and that leaves Indiana among the few states with no medical and criminal penalties intact. Now, next up at number 4, we got Texas. Texas is a paradox. A limited low THC compassionate use program does exist, but outside of that, it's tough, especially for concentrates. Possession of less than 1 gram of concentrate is a state jail felony, up to 2 years and $10,000. Go above that and penalties escalate fast. Flower possession can still mean jail. 2 to 4 ounces is a Class A misdemeanor, up to 1 year and $4,000. Now, when it comes to the employment angle and whether you can be fired for the use of the herb, it's actually pretty interesting. On the job, Texas is very employer-friendly. Private employers can run drug-free or zero-tolerance policies, and they can test. There's almost no limitation under state or federal law, and no broad employment protections for off-duty cannabis use either. So when it comes to Texas, it's definitely an interesting one. A little bit of a paradox, if you will. They do have a medical program, but it pretty much sucks. Now, next at number 3, we got Kansas, and boy, is this a far way away from legalization, Dorothy. Kansas remains no medical, no adult use. Paraphernalia penalties are aggressive. Using paraphernalia to store, ingest, or cultivate fewer than 5 plants is a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail and a $2,500 fine. In Kansas, even the sale of paraphernalia can mean up to a year in jail. Now, when it comes to employment and testing and whether you can get fired for using, Kansas Kansas also permits testing, especially for safety-sensitive roles, which fits the overall strict posture. Kansas is against the good herb. So even though Kansas has tons of windmills, that's about the only thing they want you rolling up. Now, the second most strict state when it comes to the good herb is Wyoming. Wyoming has no adult use and no real medical access beyond very limited allowances. The standout thing here, though, is that concentrates are treated extremely harshly. Possession of more than 0.3 grams of a liquid concentrate can be a felony with up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. And truth is, that's a tiny threshold with heavy penalties. Lawmakers may periodically revisit the penalties, but the overall posture remains punitive, keeping Wyoming near the top of this very strict list. So even if you love Wyoming, they may not love the good herb. They actually want to keep it out. So you may want to stay out, especially if you happen to have some concentrate on you. Just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics. Use the code LEGAL. It works on the bundle and the beans. Now, next up is the strictest state, the zero state. No medical, no adult use, no decriminalization. Idaho is the strictest state in America on the good herb in 2025. There's no medical program, no adult use, and no decriminalization. Official state messaging is explicitly anti-legalization, and lawmakers recently moved to tighten penalties rather than loosen them. When it comes to the penalties and paraphernalia, even paraphernalia is super serious. Possession is a misdemeanor, up to 1 year and $1,000. The manufacture or sale is a felony, up to 9 years and $30,000. In 2025, the legislature actually passed a mandatory minimum $300 fine just for simple possession, and that removes the judicial discretion to go any lower. Now, even businesses which are set up legally and operating under federal law dealing in hemp business, they're also facing tons of issues when they drive through Idaho. We've seen Idaho invest in testing equipment for police officers, and when it comes to employment, Idaho also empowers employers. Workplace drug testing is broadly permitted, with no protections for cannabis use simply because it's illegal across the board. Zero tolerance policies are extremely commonplace. So Idaho may be a beautiful place, but they do not love the beautiful plant. That's one thing that we know for sure. So that was the top 5, but like I promised you guys, we got a few honorable mentions, and first off is Tennessee. They still got no full medical program, just hemp-derived CBD carve-outs. And over in Tennessee, simple possession can be a Class A misdemeanor, up to 1 year and fines. And when we're talking about paraphernalia possession, that's also a misdemeanor, with up to 1 year and $2,500 fines. Now, localities may vary, but at the state level, it's still criminalization forward. Now, our second honorable mention goes to Wisconsin. They got great cheese curds, but they don't love the good herb. Now, over in Wisconsin, there's no adult use and no statewide medical program. First offense possession of any amount whatsoever can mean up to 6 months and a $1,000 fine. Subsequent offenses, however, are felonies, up to 3.5 years in jail and a $10,000 fine. Paraphernalia is also punishable by up to 30 days and $500 in fines. So over in Wisconsin, they're definitely pro-criminalization, and that's not a good thing. And on top of that, they do carry out busts and raids quite frequently. Now, our third honorable mention for one of the strictest states when it comes to the good herb in America is South Carolina. Over there, they allow an only very limited low THC allowance. Otherwise, it's completely illegal. Possession of concentrates can draw jail time, even at smaller amounts. And the state enforces drug-free zones near places like schools, parks, and those have enhanced penalties. Paraphernalia is generally unlawful, and it's often cited or fined depending on the circumstances. So South Carolina may have some beautiful beaches, but they don't consider the good herb to be beautiful. So all that said, what does this all mean? Well, here's the big picture. While most of the country has moved towards medical or adult use legalization, a handful of states still maintain strict criminal penalties and also employer-friendly drug testing. So if you're traveling, remember that concentrates are where many of these states actually hit the hardest. Wyoming and Texas are standout examples. rules. And over in Idaho, it's basically prohibition from end to end. Now, did I miss a state that you guys think should crack the top 5? Drop your experiences and sources in the comments down below. Now, if this list saved you a headache or a potential court date, hit that like, share, and subscribe. But if you want to find out what are the most weed-friendly states in America, then check this video out because it's coming up right now.
Hey, bro, which city would you live in? Gotham City or Metropolis? That's easy. Gotham City. What? Why Gotham City? Because think about it like this. Most of the problems you'll run into in Gotham, especially the villains, can easily be dealt with by keeping a strap on you. No, that's a lie. I don't believe that. Bro, the only people you really have to worry about is Clayface, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Bane, and Killer Croc. Everybody else is fair game. Because I know for a fact, Joker, Penguin, Harvey Dent, Scarecrow, and everybody else in this motherfucker is not bulletproof. I know that shit for a fact. I mean, you do have a point on that. But Metropolis, hell no. You'll die within the first week. I mean, but Superman's Metropolis, doesn't that count for anything? And look at Superman Rogues Gallery. Metallo, Atomic Skull, Lex Luthor, Brainiac. Last time I checked, a lot of these motherfuckers are bulletproof. The fuck is a gun gonna do to that shit? That is true. Exactly, so I'll take my chances in Gotham City, bitch.
What is going on, everyone? Thanks for checking into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Got a good one here today because this conversation is only getting louder. We're diving into a shift happening in Washington, D.C., one that's turning the alcohol and hemp industries against each other. So what is it? Well, beer, wine, and spirits distributors are now pleading with Congress not to ban hemp-derived THC products, arguing that consumers are drinking less alcohol and turning to these new hemp drinks instead. Thanks, Captain Obvious. But here's the twist. While distributors want hemp to stay legal, many alcohol producers, the very companies that make the booze, are actually quietly lobbying to ban it. So that tension says everything about where the market's heading right now, because we are moving in all kinds of different directions. So let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. All right, let's begin with what is happening right now. A coalition representing alcohol distributors recently sent a letter to Congress urging lawmakers to reject any federal proposal that would ban hemp-derived THC products, especially beverages that mimic beer or seltzers. So this was first reported by Marijuana Moment, and the timing isn't random. This comes as Congress debates changes to the 2018 Farm Bill, which we know legalized hemp, but left massive loopholes around THC extraction. Now, with hemp-based intoxicating products flooding shelves from Delta-8 gummies to THC-infused drinks, some lawmakers obviously want to tighten up these rules. But the alcohol lobby's argument, it's clear. Don't ban what consumers already are choosing. Why? Because they're seeing real data that alcohol demand is trending down, especially among younger consumers. And many of those buyers are shifting to hemp-based products instead. So in other words, the alcohol industry, it doesn't want to fight the trend, they want in on it. But keep your eyes on Senator Mitch McConnell, especially with Boris Jordan, which we shared with us this week during the live stream. If you haven't done that, make sure to check out our Trade to Black from earlier this Thursday about what bill Mitch McConnell may want passed heading into retirement. This is telling. So when we look at all this data, let's now talk some numbers. Okay, get this. According to industry tracking groups, beer consumption in the U.S. has been declining for nearly a decade. Not the last couple of years, a decade. And younger generations, particularly Gen Z, are drinking far less alcohol than previous ones. We know this. Meanwhile, sales of hemp-derived THC beverages have exploded, growing more than 200% year over year in some markets, according to BDSA and Headset Analytics. So yeah, they've got their attention. So these hemp drinks, they're legal in most states under the Farm Bill, and you can find them everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Gas stations, grocery stores, and even in bars. And what's the result here? Well, as we know, a massive gray market where intoxicating products products are sold outside of the licensed cannabis system. What's that mean? Unregulated, untaxed, and often stronger than anything in a dispensary. So yeah, it's a gray market. And really, that's the problem lawmakers are trying to solve. But it's also why distributors are fighting back, because really they're not just defending hemp, they're also defending their own distribution channels in all this. So let's now look at that. Here's the insider angle most people actually don't see right now. Within the alcohol industry, there's now a major divide as to what's going on. Distributors want hemp, but producers, they want it gone. How does that make sense? So distributors right now, they see hemp as a lifeline, a new product category they can legally move without dealing with state cannabis restrictions. But meanwhile, producers, meaning the companies that make beer, wine, and spirits, they view hemp as a competitive threat. Well, sometimes if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. So think about the obvious. If hemp-derived THC drinks continue to rise, every can of seltzer infused with THC instead of alcohol, it could mean, obviously, one less sale for the brewery or the distillery. So yeah, again, another reason it's grabbing their attention. So while alcohol distributors are publicly urging Congress to embrace innovation, many of their own producers are lobbying behind the scenes for a federal ban. So this gets crazy. So that split is becoming one of the most interesting internal fights in American business right now, and it shows just how much the cannabis economy is really in a lot of ways reshaping the old industries. Time changes all things, doesn't it, everyone? So now let's move to Washington, because the debate, it centers on the next version of the Farm Bill. That is the most important thing, which governs everything from agricultural to hemp regulation. Lawmakers right now, they're under pressure to close the loopholes that allowed intoxicating hemp products like Delta 8 and Delta 10 to flood the market. Again, keep your eye on Senator Mitch McConnell and all this. But banning those products outright, it could kill, as we know, thousands of small hemp businesses and really alienate millions of consumers who've made these drinks part of their daily lifestyle. So that's really why distributors are asking Congress to draw a clear line between industrial hemp and hemp for human consumption, versus, say, banning the category altogether. So what's their argument? Regulate it, label it, tax it, but don't erase it. I'm all for that. Get rid of the bad actors. But there's also another angle to all this. If hemp is banned outright, we all know where this is going to end up, back to the illicit market. So really, what happens next? The Farm Bill remains a negotiation really on both sides. The hemp lobby and the alcohol producers, they're pouring money and influence in DC right now to shape the outcome in all this. And before we wrap up here today, a quick word from our friends over at Dutchie. Listen, Curaleaf, they just reported some great numbers, and Boris said that, hey, tech is going to be a major focal point for us moving forward. So what tech platform do they use? Well, it's Dutchie. Why? Well, because it simplifies cannabis e-commerce. They're also about to launch a brand new product that's set to change how dispensaries manage online orders, inventory, and really customer engagement. So if you work in the industry, you own a dispensary, if you want to learn more, visit business.dutchie.com right now. All right, so as we bring this home, what does this all mean for cannabis and really hemp moving forward? Because that's the big question. In short, it's proof that the shift is definitely real. Consumers are voting with their wallets, moving away from alcohol towards cannabis-based products. That is inevitable. There's a lot of traditional industries, including alcohol, that need to adapt here in 2025 and moving forward, especially with industries like beer and spirits. Let's face it, again, they're being forced to adapt. So this divide right now, distributors fighting to protect hemp, producers pushing to ban it, it mirrors what we've seen for years in the broader cannabis space. Hey, welcome to the show. Incumbents are trying to control the pace of disruption. We know about this, we're real seasoned. If hemp stays legal under revised Farm Bill, expect to see even more crossover brands entering the market. Maybe even joint ventures between alcohol companies and hemp drink producers. That to me is only a matter of time. But if Congress sides with the producers and bans intoxicating hemp products entirely, we could see a short-term crackdown followed by a much bigger push for federal cannabis reform. Because, and this is important, once the federal government starts drawing lines between hemp THC and cannabis THC, that conversation inevitably leads to rescheduling and regulation under the same framework. Yes, this is confusing. Yes, this is frustrating. But the most important thing is, and this is a positive, at least this conversation is getting louder. When it's louder, that means change is on the horizon. So to recap, distributors want hemp to stay legal because it keeps them relevant. Producers want it banned because it eats into their profits. And Congress is caught in the middle of all this, trying to figure out how to regulate an entirely new category that blurs the line between cannabis and alcohol. Hey, Washington, now is the time to speak, because really this is more than just a business fight, it's a cultural pivot. So really the next few months, it's going to redefine not just how we consume, but really what we consume. This is our latest TDR Cannabis at 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Make sure to like, subscribe, smash on that bell for all notifications, and give us your feedback by leaving your comments below. We always appreciate it here at TDR. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next video, everyone. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and thanks again for watching.
Hell, back in the 60s, I was smoking shit on the street. Cops didn't say nothing. Hell, he's getting high too. Everybody was doing it. It wasn't a thing to do because it was a thing to do, you know. It was a thing to do because it got you high. Can you do?
I feel you. Nah, that's why I'm doing it. I feel it. Man, you cool as shit, mister. I hate to do it, but I gotta charge you. That's $60.
$60?
Yeah.
Man, I remember when a dime bag cost a dime. You know what I mean? You know how much condoms used to cost back in them days?
How much?
I don't know. We never used them.
You better stay safe out here. I don't know what the fuck he talking about.
So amid all the chaos of the federal government
It
shutdown,
ain't cool to be
SNAP
burning.
benefits, flight cancellations,
Nobody want to be
and
Usher.
delays, military and federal workers and families not being paid, everyone has a strong opinion and things are getting really divisive. And all while this is going on, Democrats and Republicans in Congress are making secret moves to slyly implement a federal THC ban across America. And this, ladies and gentlemen, could become reality and not just ban THC hemp, but also seeds.
Breaking news.
The U.S. Senate votes to end the longest government shutdown in history and now sends the bill to the House. This deal comes 6 weeks after hundreds of thousands of federal workers stopped getting paid. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. The chaos and the confusion also suspended SNAP benefits for millions of people and left airline passengers scrambling. Brandon Truitt is live for us in the Satellite Center tonight. And Brandon, New England Democrats helped to muscle this measure through.
Yeah, David and Lisa, Democrats appear to be the ones to blink in this weeks-long standoff. These 8 Democratic lawmakers had bipartisan talks behind the scenes for weeks, crossing the aisle to pass this bill without the support of their own party's leadership.
The ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill, as amended, is passed.
It is the first major step to ending the longest government shutdown in American history. On day 41, the Senate has passed a spending bill to reopen. The agreement funds the government through January 30th, reverses shutdown-related layoffs, and guarantees back pay for all federal workers. It also includes 3 longer spending bills with funding for SNAP benefits. Notably, the deal does not include an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies. That was what Democrats were holding out for. But 8 senators broke from their party. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman was one of them.
I strongly support those tax credits to make healthcare more affordable, but I just refuse to shut our government down and hold our government hostage.
So as you guys can see, there are a lot of things bundled into this. And what they did not tell you in that news clip is that one of the things that they actually ended up agreeing on is that they're going to be banning hemp. They're going to be changing the definition of hemp, and in so doing, they're going to outlaw tons of products that are currently legal.
A legislative push to reopen the federal government includes a provision attempting to redefine legal hemp, is sparking fear and outrage among Southern Oregon CBD producers. The proposed policy, which is included in a draft appropriations bill to reopen the government, seeks to exclude hemp-derived cannabinoid products from the definition of legal hemp. The change would shift the standard to effectively ban many currently compliant CBD products like gummies and topical creams that have traceable but non-intoxicating amounts of cannabinoids. Paul Murdoch, co-founder of Horn Creek Hemp in Jacksonville, says if the bill becomes law, it would make it impossible for him to do business.
As written, it seems to be impossible. I would suspect that this would not pass in its current form because it would eliminate a very high-quality natural, non-intoxicating remedy.
And not only would it destroy and outlaw a natural remedy, but it also destroy a multi-million-dollar industry in the hemp industry. Now, a lot of you guys would have been following the federal government shutdown, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have different views on whether the government should reopen, and if they do, what are the conditions that they should reopen under. But I think a lot of you guys could agree that some of these things that they are proposing are common sense. But what's not common sense is throwing a hemp ban into everything, because the truth is, that's a very sly way to go about things. We all know that under the 2018 Farm Bill, aka the hemp bill, anything under 0.3% is federally legal. And coincidentally enough, that bill was signed into law by the current president, Donald Trump. Now, according to this, these are the 8 Democrats which voted to end the government shutdown. And again, like I said, some of the reasons for ending the government shutdown are valid, but throwing a hemp ban into the works is completely unnecessary.
Mounting fears among parents and medical professionals all over the accidental ingestion of cannabis products. According to a new report from the Wall Street Journal, hemp gummies that are made of hemp have sent hundreds of our kids to the hospital this year. The products are less regulated than more potent cannabis derivatives. The compound was even legalized by Congress in 2018.
So those are the typical talking points that you would hear from prohibitionists as getting into the hands of kids. A lot more calls to the Poison Control Center. But if you look at the overdoses, those numbers are 0, nil. There are no overdose deaths recorded since the history of time. But what you see is prohibitionists pushing reefer madness in 2025, and a lot of those folks are lobbying for bans.
Luke Neferitos is the CEO of Protect Our Kids and the VP of Smart Approaches to Marijuana. He joins us right now from Colorado. Luke, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so I know about THC. That's the bad stuff in pot, but I didn't realize, first of all, that Congress legalized hemp, and hemp has got some bad stuff in it.
Yeah, so what happened was in 2018, Senator Mitch McConnell really led the way with a number of other members of Congress to legalize hemp in the 2018 Farm Bill. Their intention was not to create a whole new class of intoxicating substances that would be legal nationwide, but what ended up happening was really the people, drug dealers, drug pushers, people who like to sell drugs for a living, figured out that there's a loophole in that law that allows them to take out substances out of hemp, like Delta-8, for example, that look like marijuana, act like marijuana. They're addictive, they cause psychosis and other kinds of harms, and they can sell those in the forms of gummy bears and other kinds of child-friendly products in gas stations across the country. That is what is happening right now all across the country, and unfortunately our kids are getting into them now.
No kidding. You guys can hear it right there for yourselves. A lot of these prohibitionists have platforms, and they use these platforms to push the fear-mongering propaganda. It's plainly reefer madness in 2025. As we go into 2026, it's going to be the same thing. Now, what they're trying to do is change the definition of hemp. As you guys know, anything under that 0.3% limit is considered hemp, and therefore is federally legal. Now, what they're trying to do is redefine what hemp means under federal law. And this is where things can get really tricky, because under this new proposed definition, it can include seeds. And that's something we're going to get into in a bit. But before we do, I just want to show you guys how widespread this is, because it can affect places from Michigan to Kentucky to over in California and Colorado. But have a look at this. This is Kentucky, and this is exactly what's going to happen if this bill passes. Tons of trouble. Have a look.
A plan to reopen the government could come with a cost for Kentucky's hemp industry. A few lines buried deep in the Senate spending bill could ban most hemp-derived products. WDRB's Dalton Godby explains what's at stake.
CBD oils, gummies, and especially drinks like these could all be banned if this bill passes. It's a measure that could be detrimental to Kentucky's booming hemp industry.
This is what this is all about.
Jim Higdon's company, with about 100 employees, is just a fraction of Kentucky's massive hemp industry, which is estimated to generate about $300 million a year. Now, every product sold at Cornbread Hemp is in jeopardy.
All of those products that were completely compliant, are completely compliant under the 2018 Farm Bill, will be made illegal if this language sticks.
The proposal, tucked inside the Senate's government funding bill, would ban hemp products with any measurable amount of THC. It's backed by Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, who has pushed to close a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill. He said this in the summer.
My 2018 Farm Bill, hemp bill, sought to create an agricultural hemp industry, not open the door to the sale of unregulated, intoxicating, lab-made, hemp-derived substances.
So you guys can see how widespread this is going to be. It's going to affect tons of hemp-derived THC products, including CBD and CBG. And I know a lot of you guys are concerned about seeds and genetics, and that too is going to fall within the definition. So let's go through it together. And under this new wording, seeds will be included, and I quote, "In general, hemp and any part of that plant, including seeds and all derivatives, extracts, cannabinoids, isomers, acids, or salts, whether growing or not, with total THC, including THCA, of less than 0.3% in the plant on a dry weight basis. It includes industrial hemp and excludes any viable seeds that exceed total THC of 0.3% in the plant. And according to this, also the exclusion of hot seeds, viable seeds from any cannabis plant that could potentially grow to exceed this 0.3% total THC limit would be excluded from the definition of legal hemp. In other words, any seeds that produce anything over 0.3% is illegal. But when it comes to the impact on current genetics, most strains, including those bred for CBD, have the genetic potential to exceed that threshold. If this stands, seeds could be defined as marijuana under federal law and therefore become illegal. Now, what I found pretty interesting about all this is that under the 2018 Farm Bill, the federal Farm Bill, President Trump actually made tons of these seeds legal alongside hemp and other products. And now we're getting reports from the White House that President Trump actually supports the THC hemp ban. Now, it's important to note that these are not words from the mouth of President Trump himself, but rather reports from an unnamed White House official. Now, we don't know if this is actual fact and actually something that the president said, or if it's just someone trying to muddy the waters. But what is clear is that according to this tweet, and I quote, "Senator Rand Paul has long told leadership and industry folks he will not consent to bills unless the loophole is preserved, which was created by the 2018 Farm Bill that allows unregulated THC products to be sold nationwide." And you guys can see the entire phrasing and slanting of this tweet is crazy, and it's also pro-prohibition, saying that he won't consent to the bill unless the loophole is preserved and suggesting that he wants to sell unrelated THC products nationwide. It's absolutely crazy, and again, it's a lot of fear-mongering. Now, Senator Rand Paul has spoken out against the THC ban multiple times, and he's a Republican senator who's actually pushing back against that ban.
Will eradicate the hemp industry. There'll be no more hemp industry. It'll completely eradicate it.
Congress wants to close a loophole that allowed intoxicating hemp products to go unregulated for many years now. But Senator Rand Paul worries that Congress is taking their ban a bit too far. Paul says the issue is that some of these products have become, quote, juiced up to intoxicating levels of THC, and they're legally being sold with no real regulations. So while marijuana remains illegal in many states, some of the intoxicating hemp products are easily accessible in wellness stores, online, even at gas stations. So Paul agrees that Congress should put limitations in place, but he wants to strike a compromise to allow these products to have small amounts of THC in them. Those in Congress pushing for this ban say it's to stop bad actors from taking advantage of a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill to sell psychoactive products.
So Senator Rand Paul has spoken out on a number of occasions, and on multiple times he has tried to stop this language from appearing in similar bills in the past. But on this particular occasion, the Senate actually rejected his attempt to save the hemp industry from the THC ban in the key spending bill. Now, I know a lot of you guys will traditionally think that Republicans are against the good herb and Democrats are all for it. But according to this article, what we're seeing is a little bit of a flip of the script, where Senator Patty Murray, the top Democrat on the Senate's Appropriation Committee, and Senator Jeanine Shaheen, Democrat from New Hampshire, the party's top member in the subcommittee that handles agricultural spending, flagged the Paul amendment and notified members that they will be voting against the proposal, signaling to the caucus that they should also follow suit. So a lot of these folks in Congress are literally pushing for a THC ban. But it seems that Senator Rand Paul may have one final trick up his sleeve, as according to this, despite the fact that Senate advances the hemp product ban, the GOP senator has a last-ditch plan to fight back. And this goes straight back to what I was saying at the top of the video, where you just can't hate government enough. And for anyone who wants more government in their life, you're absolutely crazy. Because in a situation where they can't even agree to open back the government, they're throwing stuff like this in. What is this doing to help the people? How is this supposed to help families who need funds? How is this supposed to help people on SNAP benefits? The truth is, it's not.
Hemp-derived THC products could be on the chopping block as Washington lawmakers move forward with a Senate deal to end the now 41-day government shutdown. The Senate made progress toward reopening the government as enough Democrats split from their caucus to join Republicans in voting 60-40 on an updated stopgap funding bill. The deal contained a continuing resolution to open the government through January 30th and 3 full-year 2026 appropriation bills.
So Congress is being pushed by tons of folks to ban the good herb. And it's not just folks in positions of power, but also massive corporations. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about that in a bit. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL. It works on the bundo and the beans.
This is exactly what we've been talking about, and now we have confirmation from the Congressional Research Service that says if Congress takes a sledgehammer to the hemp program and tries to outlaw all THC because THC in their mind is intoxicating and bad, it will also destroy the non-intoxicating CBD market that relies on CBD products include THC in a certain amount to make that CBD effective. So the Congressional Research Service is telling lawmakers what we're also telling lawmakers, that you can't remove all THC from hemp to make it somehow non-intoxicating. There's non-intoxicating levels of THC. Those non-intoxicating levels of THC support non-intoxicating CBD products through what we call full spectrum CBD. And if we take out the THC, as the Congressional Research Service is saying, we'll kill the entire hemp industry. So Congress, don't do it.
So there are folks like the Cornbread CEO who are advocating against the ban, but also industry lawyers are condemning the overbroad and disastrous congressional push to ban these THC products. But not everyone is on board with it, because massive corporations, I'm talking massive, like Coca-Cola, General Mills, Kraft Heinz, and Nestle, they're putting pressure on Congress to ban these products. Ban them completely. And of course, we're seeing folks from Big Alcohol and in the Bear Industry Trade Group calling out hemp THC sectors bad actors for allegedly marketing to kids. And the double standard in that is hilarious, because as you guys can see up on screen, the alcohol industry has been using cartoony style marketing, which is attractive to kids for decades. I mean, the double standards and hypocrisy is mind-numbing. Now, the push to ban these hemp products doesn't stop with these massive corporations, because folks in power like attorney generals from multiple states are also pushing Congress to ban a lot of these products. Have a look.
A call tonight to close the hemp loophole. That's what the state attorney general calls the sale of unregulated THC products. KDK's Lauren Linder tells us about what's become a national effort.
The Pennsylvania Attorney General is teaming up with a bipartisan group of colleagues in other states, asking Congress to clarify the definition of hemp in hopes of preventing those that are extremely potent with THC from getting in the wrong hands.
I think it's really important for parents to be aware that these products are out there and easily accessible by children and teenagers.
The products Dr. Joseph Arokri is talking about are those containing THC derived from the hemp plant. The chair of pediatrics for Allegheny Health Network's Pediatric Institute says they're legal despite having THC in them, and they're sold in places like convenience stores and gas stations. The problem is they're not regulated and are attractive to children.
They have very fancy products, very fancy packaging, very bright, cartoon-like, very appealing to children.
It's why Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday, along with 38 other attorneys general, sent a letter to congressional committee leaders, urging them to tighten the definition of hemp and prevent the sale of the products that contain synthetic cannabinoids like Delta-8. Sunday saying many times these products are more potent than marijuana, and that they have, quote, flooded the market because of a gap in the language of the 2018 Farm Bill.
Because of the way that the product looks, if it gets in the hands of a young child, there's always a risk of poisoning and overdose, which could end up having the kids end up in the emergency room.
So more and more fear-mongering talking points. But what's really concerning is that tons of these attorney generals from multiple states are pushing Congress to ban all these products. And instead of regulating it, they're pushing for a ban. I mean, why decimate the entire industry when you can simply regulate it? I mean, you can even tax it and make money off of it. But instead, folks like Minnesota's attorney general are really pushing for that ban.
Minnesota's hemp industry on the verge of collapse. A lot of people in the industry are worried. They say even worse is that the state's top lawyer is contributing to their demise. Fox 9's Corin Hoggard shows us possible unintended consequences of a change to federal hemp laws.
Yeah, hemp is huge in Minnesota. I got sales tax receipts from the Department of Revenue today that show it's about a $200 million business in the state this year, delivering tens of millions of dollars to the state's bottom line. But insiders are worried the attorney general here is going to help kill a homegrown industry.
It's really scary.
Stephen Brown sees the business he built in northeast Minneapolis on a precipice. Nothing But Hemp makes hemp-derived THC beverages and edibles for several brands. But a new letter from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and 38 other AGs has the entire hemp industry on edge.
We're talking about sort of an Armageddon for hemp. I mean,
Senator Rand Paul told hemp farmers and producers the farm bill Ellison is advocating for would limit THC content in their products below a level where anyone would buy them. The letter says hemp-derived products are being sold nationwide without consistent age restrictions, labeling standards, or safety requirements, and they're frequently packaged to appeal to young children. Ellison's office told me he, quote, is seeking to prevent a wild west of unregulated internet sales of cannabis across state lines.
So it's clear that there's a huge push to ban a lot of these products. And what's really sad is that a lot of folks who've been operating legally since 2018 will now be forced to shut down. They'll be now forced to close down their shops completely and stop selling products. And in some situations, they may become felons overnight.
A Kentucky success story could soon become a federal crime. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Gilbert Corsi. WDRB's Andy Shaney tells us about the bill that could make most hemp products, including THC gummies, creams, and drinks, illegal.
This is what hemp looks like. It's the key ingredient for everything made here at Cornbread. Workers fill boxes with THC gummies and seltzers. They're products that could soon become illegal.
Everything that we've built here at Cornbread Hemp is at risk. And welcome to Cornbread Hemp. We're here at our facility at Chef Avenue.
Now, what's really concerning is the wide range of products that will be affected by this proposed ban. I'm talking tinctures, CBD gummies, I'm talking flour, I'm talking extracts and concentrates, all sorts of stuff. And the truth is, a lot of folks who use these products for medical purposes, for medical relief, they don't even necessarily want the marijuana stuff. They do need some of these hemp-derived products. And that's what these CBD business owners are trying to explain. Check it out.
We're in the fight for our lives, but we're here for it.
CBD business owners are worried as a bill moving through Congress could ban hemp products. In 2018, a bill federally legalized the commercial production of CBD products, no longer classifying hemp as a controlled substance. Proposed changes to the bill would update that definition. Senator Mitch McConnell leading the ban proposal, saying during a July Senate committee hearing in part, the provision would close the hemp loophole that has resulted in the proliferation of unregulated, intoxicating hemp products.
Now, even though Mitch McConnell is pushing this effort, what will solve a lot of these problems are term limits. And some of you guys may have seen Mitch McConnell fell again recently. Check it out.
Mr. Leader, any comment on the defense appropriations bill, sir?
Excuse me, Senator. My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
So that being said, even though Mitch McConnell is one of many who are pushing for this ban, term limits can definitely be something that can help us get a younger generation in there, and that younger generation may be more likely to be open to legalization of the good herb. But let me know what you guys think about all that. Drop it in the comments down below and let me know where you guys stand on that. But before we go, I want to show you guys what you can do to push back against this ban. Have a quick look.
As Senator Paul has said, we need to send emails and make it known to members of Congress that this issue matters to every single person here. And the best thing that you can do is, number one, email your senator, email your congressman.
That's exactly what we would like you guys to do as well. Reach out to your local congresspeople, reach out to them and make your feelings clear. Make your voices heard respectfully and let them know that you do not want them to decimate the hemp industry. It's going to affect tons of folks because if you guys don't stand up for it, you're going to fall for it. And the truth is, I don't want you guys to fall for anything that these politicians are trying to pull over your eyes. So let me know what you guys think about all that. And in our next video, we've seen a Muslim socialist mayor appointed in New York City, and what that means for the good herb, we break it all down in that video. So have a look, it's coming up right now.
Bro, ever wonder why people love smoking weed? Like, why does one little green plant have the entire world split between its medicine and it'll ruin your life? From ancient priests using it to talk to gods, to rappers calling it therapy, to scientists studying its effect on your brain. Weed's story is actually way deeper than you think. So let's talk about why people smoke marijuana. The science, the psychology, the culture, and why your brain loves it so much. When you take a hit, THC, that's the main chemical in weed, slides into your bloodstream like it owns the place. Within seconds, it's racing to your brain looking for something called endocannabinoid receptors. Now here's the wild part, your brain already has its own weed system. It naturally produces chemicals called endocannabinoids, tiny molecules that keep your body in balance. They regulate mood, hunger, pain, memory, even how you experience pleasure. So normally your body releases just enough of these chemicals when you're doing good stuff like eating your favorite food, laughing with friends, falling in love, or finally finishing that assignment at 3 a.m. But THC, it barges in like, move over, I got this. It mimics those natural molecules, but it doesn't know when to stop. It's like turning the volume knob on your brain's feel-good system all the way up. That's why suddenly music sounds like it's written just for you, and food tastes like it was cooked by angels, and time starts moving like it's underwater. It's not your imagination. THC actually slows how your brain processes time. Your internal clock stretches, so a 10-minute song feels like a full concert. While this is happening, your brain releases a surge of dopamine, the chemical behind joy and motivation. For some, that means pure bliss, a wave of calm, laughter, deep thoughts. But for others, not so fun. If your brain already runs anxious or overthinks a lot, THC can amplify that too. It's like your thoughts turn into a loud echo chamber. So two people can take the same hit, one's floating on a cloud, and the other's suddenly questioning every decision they've ever made. It all comes down to your brain chemistry, tolerance, and mood before you smoke. If your mind's chill, weed amplifies that calm. If you're stressed, it can amplify that chaos. In short, weed doesn't create feelings. It just turns up whatever's already there. But here's the real reason people smoke again and again. It's not just about chemistry, it's psychology. Life is stressful. People crave an off switch, and weed gives you that quick pause. A moment where everything gets quiet and you just exist. For some, it's self-medication for anxiety or trauma, and for others, it's a creative unlock. You've got thinkers, artists, coders, and musicians swearing by it. And let's be honest, for a lot of people, it's just fun. It turns a normal night into a story. Weed makes the world feel softer, and sometimes that's all people want. What's wild is that people have been using weed for thousands of years, like since civilization itself found out what farming is. In ancient China, records go back over 2,500 years. They called it ma, and it wasn't just for getting high. They used it as medicine, fiber, food, and ritual all in one. Doctors in the Han Dynasty used it to treat pain, malaria, and insomnia. They even mixed it with wine before surgery. Basically, the world's first anesthetic. Meanwhile, in India, weed had a whole spiritual side. They brewed it into a drink called pong, a holy mix of milk, spices, and cannabis offered to their god. Even today, during festivals like Holi, people drink bong as part of prayer and celebration. Then there were the Scythians, wild nomadic warriors who lived around modern-day Ukraine and Kazakhstan. When someone died, they didn't just mourn, they built a tent, threw hot rocks inside, dropped cannabis on the fire, and basically hotboxed the place as part of a funeral ritual. Moving forward a couple thousand years, and we had Queen Victoria's doctor who was literally prescribing cannabis for menstrual pain. And in the 1800s, fancy pharmacies in Europe were selling it like Tylenol. Bottles labeled cannabis extract for rest and relaxation. So yeah, humans and weed go way back, from caveman and warriors to queens and doctors. It's not some modern trend, it's ancient human tradition. So how did something that ancient, a plant used by healers, warriors, and queens, become illegal almost everywhere for decades? It wasn't science or medicine, but actually propaganda, racism, and politics. Back in the early 1900s, the US government needed a new villain. Alcohol had just been legalized again after Prohibition ended, but officials still wanted something to campaign against, something they could link to crime and corruption. And that's when cannabis entered the spotlight, for all the wrong reasons. Newspapers owned by powerful people with ties to the timber and paper industry started printing wild stories about this new drug called marijuana. They said it made people violent, insane, and uncontrollable. Headlines scream things like marijuana assassin of youth. But here's the twist. It wasn't really new. It was already part of Mexican and black jazz culture. So politicians used fear to control those communities. They painted weed as a foreign drug, tied it to racism, and pushed laws to criminalize it. Then came the 1930s, and a man named Harry Anslinger, the first commissioner of the U.S. Federal Bureau of Narcotics. He led a full-on crusade against marijuana, and his logic was that if he could convince America that weed caused violence and insanity, he could grow his department's power. He famously said, "Reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white men." That's how deep the racism ran, and it worked. By 1937, the U.S. passed the Marijuana Tax Act, effectively banning it. Other countries followed, and by the 1970s, under Nixon's war on drugs, it got labeled Schedule 1, the same category as heroin and LSD. Officially, that meant no accepted medical use, high potential for abuse, even as scientists were publishing studies saying, wait, it's not that simple. But here's the part they don't tell you. Leaked Nixon tapes later revealed one of his advisors admitting, quote-unquote, "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be against the war or black, but we could get the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin and then criminalize both." So yeah, weed didn't become illegal because it was dangerous. It became illegal because the government wanted control. While governments were cracking down, scientists kept studying it in secret. And what they found didn't fit the madness narrative at all. Instead of turning people violent, it turned out cannabis might actually help with anxiety, pain, and even epilepsy. But by then the damage was done. Decades of fear had planted themselves deeper than the plant ever could. The thing with weed is that it isn't purely good or evil. It's a balancing act. Moderate doses can ease anxiety, improve mood, even help with chronic pain or PTSD, and with heavy daily use, it can mess with motivation, short-term memory, or even trigger paranoia. THC and CBD are like yin and yang. One stimulates the brain and one calms it down. That's why some strains make you laugh for hours, and others have you staring at the ceiling thinking about your life choices. It all depends on what's in the weed and who's smoking it. Fast forward to today, and weed's not just surviving, it's thriving. The same plant that was once demonized as reefer madness is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Dispensaries glow on every corner like Starbucks. You can order gummies, oils, and pre-rolls from your phone, all branded with sleek packaging and crazy names like Pineapple Express or Purple Monkey Ball. There are luxury cannabis lounges and entire tourism industries built around getting high legally. Celebrities have their own strains, like Lil Baby just came out with his own strain. Influencers promote edibles on TikTok. Even Wall Street invests in weed stocks now, the same system that once locked people up for selling it. And while scientists are still piecing together what it does long term, culture has already made up its mind. Weed isn't a symbol of rebellion anymore, it's a lifestyle. But behind all that marketing and money, it's still the same ancient ritual. It's still the same green plant humans have passed around for thousands of years. People still smoke to escape their reality, to connect emotionally, or to feel something real for a moment. So you could say the packaging changed and the laws changed, but the reason people smoke it never changed. So why do people smoke weed? People don't smoke weed just to get high. They do it to feel human, to laugh a little louder, think a little deeper, or forget a little faster. But here's the thing. If you rely on it too much, the escape becomes the prison. I had a friend who went down that road. First, it was just for fun, until it wasn't fun anymore. Over time, it stopped being a choice and started being a routine. I saw him after a month and he looked different. Eyes heavy, skin dull, like the spark was gone. Weed wasn't the problem, it was the dependency. Like anything powerful, it's about balance. But honestly, the smartest move is not to start. Drop your craziest weed stories down below, and if you enjoyed, then subscribe. Thanks for watching.
He said, thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I am your host, Shad Dales, and wow, what a week it's been so far as we're breaking down yet again why intoxicating hemp just got banned and how whiskey, politics, and legacy power plays are driving the narrative here. Now, before we get into today's episode, a quick reminder that it's powered by Dutchie, the tech plug for cannabis retail. From point of sale to e-commerce, Dutchie helps dispensaries run smoother, faster, and smarter. So if you're in the game, Dutchie is your cheat code. Their tech leads the regulated cannabis industry. And if you want to learn more, visit business.dutchie.com. All right, let's get into today's episode. We've already covered the messy side of intoxicating hemp products that weren't tested, weren't labeled, and were crossing state lines. That's the old news. Now let's move into the new news. And what's getting more attention now, and rightfully so, is the alcohol lobby's role in pushing this ban across the finish line, because they play a big role. So this isn't some backroom theory. It's being talked about in policy circles, trade groups, and even on the Senate floor. What is it? Well, the whiskey industry saw hemp cutting into their market share, and they weren't about to sit back and watch it all happen. Far from it. So based on all this, let's now zoom in on Kentucky. It is the bourbon capital. Here are 5 whiskey brands right now that are feeling the pressure because of hemp. One is Heaven Hill. Domestic sales are slipping, exports hit by tariffs. Next is Four Roses, losing younger drinkers to cannabis and hemp. Then you've got Wilderness Trail, sold under financial strain, and Rabbit Hole, expansion plans iced. One last company is Buffalo Trace, inventory issues and margins that are being squeezed. So U.S. whiskey sales right now, they dropped 1.8% last year, and hemp is starting to look like the cooler, cleaner alternative. So the bourbon lobby saw the writing on the wall, and guess what? They hit the panic button and called up Senator Mitch McConnell. So let's be real in all this. Alcohol lobbyists are some of the most seasoned operators right now in Washington. Groups like the Distilled Spirits Council and Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of America, they definitely have deep ties to lawmakers, especially in states like Kentucky, Tennessee, and Texas. So they really know how to frame a threat, how to fund a campaign, and really how to get language inserted into bills, and they do it quietly. And when intoxicating hemp started trending, they didn't just sit there and complain. They got into action and they mobilized. They framed it as a public health risk, but make no mistake, this also was about protecting market share. Plain and simple. Now let's enter in, as I said earlier, Senator Mitch McConnell, Kentucky's political heavyweight, and he needs no introduction. He made sure the hemp ban landed in the funding bill in an effort to get the government back reopened. Why? Because hemp was indeed threatening Kentucky's whiskey economy. And here's also the twist as well. McConnell, he's retiring, and there's a quiet rule in the Senate that's going on. When a senior senator retires, they get one last bill passed. And what is that bill? It's the hemp ban. And that, my friends, is a mic drop. A final favor to the bourbon lobby. And let's not forget, McConnell was also the architect of the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized hemp in the first place. So this isn't just a policy reversal, it's a full circle moment. And let's be real, it's also strategic in all this. So where's the fallout in all this? Well, for hemp entrepreneurs, this is definitely a gut punch, putting it mildly. Many of them built businesses around Delta-8 and other legal cannabinoids, thinking they were operating within the law. Now they're in legal limbo. Revenue is going to be gone eventually and no clear path forward. What they do know is they've got a year on the clock. And the worst part, they weren't taken down by regulators. They were taken down by legacy alcohol interests protecting their turf. But again, as we've said, we saw this coming because, yes, there are a lot of good actors, but the bad actors definitely got the lasting reputation and lasting message on Congress in all this. So it is a tough break for many in the hemp industry that we're doing it the right way. So now here's the real question. Could this be a preview of what the cannabis industry could experience later on down the road leading up to the midterms? Because really it's something worth talking about. Why? Well, if alcohol lobbyists can help kill hemp, what's stopping them from blocking cannabis reform? Imagine federal legalization gaining steam, then boom, same playbook. Lobbyists frame cannabis as a threat to public health or to youth or to workplace safety, though the cannabis industry has a lot of ammo to back that up. Proper testing, proper labeling, no interstate commerce, they're paying taxes through 280E, so it's a lot different from what the hemp industry was actually executing. They found a loophole, they ran with it, but those days are now over. So yes, I think there's plenty of ammo the cannabis industry can counter with these alcohol lobbyists if they indeed say it's a public health issue. But they could view it as well as youth or workplace safety. They don't need necessarily to win this argument, they just need to slow it down. We've already seen this with safe banking getting stalled and with Schedule 3 being floated as a compromise. That helps pharma but leaves small operators behind in all this. So this really could be not just about intoxicating hemp, it's about who gets to own the future of chill. So really the cannabis industry, they need to watch its back. Why? Because the whiskey lobby, they just showed how it's done in all this. So to quickly recap here today, one, the Kentucky whiskey is losing market share. That is something we've known for a while. Also, Senator Mitch McConnell, he used his final move to protect it. As well, intoxicating hemp, it just got banned. And cannabis, it could be next in line. We need to be careful of this as the cannabis industry needs to watch their back and be prepared for this. So this wasn't just a policy shift, it was a power flex. If cannabis wants to win, it needs to learn from hemp's takedown and get ready for the next fight. Because really, the next time a bill gets passed, let's say at 2 a.m. just to keep the lights on, it may have language that reshapes the entire cannabis industry. 2026 is going to be a telling year for cannabis reform. It makes sense. You've got a lot of transparency now where the bad actors of hemp are now gone, and it could pave the way for rescheduling. But you can bet on alcohol lobbyists not going down without a fight. So that's it for our latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. I am your host, Shad Dales. If this hit home, smash that subscribe button right now, drop a comment below, and share it with someone who still thinks whiskey and weed don't compete. Love to get your feedback. Until then, I'll catch you next time, everyone. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you next time in the latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Thanks for watching.
From summer's end till the winter comes, till gray days turn to yellow ones. I stay grinding for mine. I try to tell them once, to travel to the moon, you gotta brave the elements and battle many goons, you gotta cage the elephants. It's elementary, I speak with a certain eloquence. I smoke hella blunts, a habit I've been developed since I was a young boy playing the silver ball. See them stand, feel them fall, Metallica, kill them all. Living like this is my last moment, but a moment could last forever. Snap a picture in that colon. Get whatever you going, sip in your glass, hold it up. Hit the side on mine, get the tip in the back, go in. So many days we were sitting low. Better get busy living till the day you give it and then get to go where the sinners go. go. Pulling the cash and spend it slow. Better make it fast, but dipshit, no matter no money, yo, it's all expendable. You'll be alright, yeah.